Okay, so the barbell row. I don't think this exercise receives the priority in a lot of people's training that it deserves. And I think part of the reason that it doesn't is because for a lot of people, form never really clicks. I've heard people say that it's an awkward feeling exercise to them and that, they never seem to get it right. And that's sad because other than the squat, the deadlift, and some sort of pressing movement, I think the row is one of your most essential exercises. I don't think there's a better movement than the barbell row for building the size and strength of your back above the waist. I just don't think there's a better movement for it. I don't think there's a movement that can recruit more musculature at once in that area of the back. The potential for overload is huge, again, if you do it properly. So let's break down the mechanical aspects of the row so that you can optimize your positioning based on your needs, but we're aiming to find that sweet spot where you're going to be activating the most muscle at once and therefore have the most overload potential. I want to keep this quick and simple. The first mechanical factor that we need to learn in the barbell row is back angle, with one endpoint on the spectrum being fully upright and the other endpoint being a 90-degree hinge. Now, when we're fully upright, we're recruiting almost exclusively the upper traps when we pull. That's an upper trap dominant movement. When we're fully hinged to 90 degrees, we're recruiting primarily the lats. So as we travel upwards, more and more of the upper back begins to be activated, the higher the angle that we're pulling from. The optimal point is probably somewhere in between. It's wherever you can activate as much of this musculature at once as possible. So about 60 degrees, I don't know, what's that, 45 degrees, even 60, even about that high. At this point, you're going to be able to feel the lats work as well as the traps and the rhomboids and all the other muscles in the upper back. And this is where you're going to have your greatest capacity for overload and where you're working the most muscle mass at once. So for a primary rowing movement, for most people, and you have to find your sweet spot, but for most people to feel the most muscle, it's probably somewhere about here. And remember, you're always hinged during this. Your butt is out, your core is tight, your hamstrings are locked. But about right here is where I can pull with my traps, lats, and everything. And it's a short little movement up the thighs, but this has the most overload potential. The second mechanical factor that we're looking at after back angle is to what point on the body you are pulling the bar. And this is especially relevant in that fully hinged position in the 90 degrees. The lower on the body that we pull, the lower the point of muscular activation. So pulling straight to the hips, again, it's going to emphasize the lower lats. Pulling higher up to, say, in this position, to the lower rib cage, is going to emphasize the upper back. Play around pulling to different positions and feel how different points on your back are taking the strain. Okay, so you can pull here, pull here, pull here. Get used to this. Get used to feeling those different muscles work. Now the third and final mechanical factor that we'll look at is grip width. And to simplify this, what you need to understand about grip width is that the wider the grip you take on the bar, regardless of the position that your back is in or the point to which you're pulling, the wider the grip you take, the more your delts will become a limiting factor. If you're wanting to row for the purpose of engaging those rear delts, if, for example, you want an upper back specific kind of row that targets rear delts and middle traps for an assistance exercise for your bench press, then yes, yeah, by all means, take a wide grip on it. You know, medium wide grip, lower angle with a higher pull. Okay, this is great for your bench press or for isolating those upper back muscles. Is this the optimal rowing position for most muscular development overall? No, because those rear delts are a limiting factor, but you can use that to your advantage if you're trying to target them specifically.